Mac OS version of Emacs, and you'll just have to trust me that basically everything is exactly the same on both platforms. Okay, so here we are, and what I'm going to do is you're going to have to practice with Emacs to really get into it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cover a large percentage of it, but that's going to still mean you're going to have to spend about 2 hours just practicing all this stuff. But if you follow along as I issue commands and such, you shouldn't have any problem. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in here a little bit. First thing I want to cover is how we can open up help. You're going to go Control and H followed by I, and you're going to see right here a listing of a whole bunch of key bindings. And I accidentally just did something wrong here. It's giving me all kinds of weird errors. So what I'm going to do is the way to stop something that you did incorrectly is you're going to hold down Control and G, and that's going to quit anything that you may have done and fix it. Okay, and after I hit Control HI, this is going to provide me with a whole entire help system, which is going to be extremely useful. I'm going to hold down the Control key now and hit V, and you're going to be able to cycle through everything. Hold down the Meta key or your Alt key and hit V, and you're going to go back up. So this is one place to bounce around inside of. If you want to see all of your key bindings, once again, Control H for help, and you're going to type in B, and you're going to see down here all of the possible key bindings, like the different commands and such you could ever want to use are going to be available down here. And you can see that I'm in the upper part of, this is called a frame. You can call it a window, you can call it whatever you want. It's traditionally called a frame inside of Emacs. But if you want to switch down to the bottom part, what you're going to do is the bottom frame is go Control and X, and then hit the letter O, and you're going to jump down to the bottom frame, and then we can increase the text size once again. And like I said, this is going to allow us to see all of the possible different key bindings. Control V, once again, is going to allow us to cycle through, and you're going to see a whole bunch of different things. And you can click on those and test them out and see, you know, what they do and such. But I'm going to cover most of the most important things in this tutorial. So if we want to close that guy out, and what we can do is go Control X and the number 0, and you can see that that closed that down. All right, and there's just tons of these like little commands you can issue that are so extremely useful. Another thing, I was talking about bindings and such. Let's say you have and by binding, I mean these things that I keep talking about. Hold down Control and then hit X and so forth. Let's say that you know of a command, Control X B. What that is it allows you to switch buffers. See, each one of these open frames that you have inside of here, they are referred to as buffers, and they are going to be buffers until you save them as files. So let's say you want to get help on a specific key binding, which is Control XB. You want to know what that does. You're going to go Control and you're going to go H followed by K, and then you're just going to type in Control and X and follow that up with B. All right, and now you're going to see that all the information is available. If you want to jump down into that bottom frame, once again, you're going to go Control X and the letter O, and then we can go Control X and Control +++ to increase that. And you can see it provides you with an insane amount of information in regards to what that specific command does inside of Emacs. Another thing you can do is if you want to see all the functions for a specific action, you can also do that in a similar way. Control H once again, and then we can hit A, for example, and you want to see all of the buffer commands, for example. You'll go BUFFER and hit enter, and you're going to see over here on the right side there's another frame, and it's going to show you every single buffer key binding command that you could ever want. And whoops, we're going to go and Control X and the letter O, and now I'm over here, and then I can go and look at all those. And once again, Control V is going to allow you to go down, and Meta key or Alt key V is going to allow you to cycle up through it. All right, so there's a bunch of different ways to use the help system. And if we want to close down the window that we're currently in, I go Control X and 0. I want to close down the other one, Control X and 0. And now we are back here in the original help file. All right, so what I want to do is I want to start working with different files. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go and hold down the meta key and X, and I'm going to type in SHELL, shell. That's going to open up my terminal. It's going to work in Windows as well. And I can come in here and use this just like a terminal. Now I can go pwd, which is going to show me exactly where I'm located inside of my file system. I don't want to be there though, so I want to go someplace else. So let's go Control X and switch back to that and go Control X and 0 to get rid of that. So now I just have my terminal open, and I can change myself to a different file system. So let's just go CD and bounce around here a little bit. All right, and I'm going to change into my users directory, and you're going to be using like C drives and things like that inside of Windows, but I'm pretty sure you're well aware of how that's going to work. I'm then going to change into my movie backup folder and change into my, and then do ls and see what I got inside of here. You can see all of my different files that I have set up on my system. And I'm going to change into my Emacs tutorial directory. And then this is where I'm going to start working with some files. And what I can do is go Control X. I'm going to create a brand new file, and then Control F. And it's going to have me down here, find file, and it has me listed as movie backup. I'm going to change that into Emacs tutorial, and then / and I'm going to call this Emacs tut. And you can see new file showed up down there. Now, as you're typing, there's going to be a whole bunch of different things you may want to turn on or turn off. One of the things that I always like to turn on or turn off, well, there's certain things. There's a hard wrap as well as a soft wrap. And that basically just means I'm going to go and shrink my window down here so that I can play around with this a little bit. Now let's go and throw in a whole bunch of text. Now you can see right here how everything, this is what we call a hard wrap, because as it gets to the end of the word, it just breaks the word off and throws it down here. Now, if you want to make this a little bit nicer, what you can do is you can hold down the meta key and X. Another thing you can do instead of holding down the meta key is just to click on escape. I'll do that this time. I'll go escape and X. And what I'm going to do is go visual line dash mode. Oops, spell mode right. And you can see it down here. Visual line mode, visual line mode. And I'm going to hit enter. And when I do that, you're going to see that this creates a soft wrap, which is going to make sure that the words aren't broken out, and it's automatically going to resize also as the window resizes. And the alternative to that is a hard wrap, and that would be meta key X followed by auto-fill-mode. All right, but I prefer the visual line mode, and I don't know why anybody would use autofill mode, but whatever. So that's another thing. Another thing you can do is you can shrink text, go Control X and then Control negative. Okay, and plus would make it go up. And you can see that you can switch back and forth between those two different options if you'd like to. You can also change your font, and to do that, you can go Meta X, and then you're going to type in menu dash set dash font, and down here you can see all of the different font options that are available pops up. You can select whatever you'd like, and I can just close that out. So that's how you change your fonts. You're also going to be able to customize your theme, like I showed you before, Meta X, and then type in customize-themes. You can do all kinds of crazy stuff inside of Emacs. You could even open up Tetris. So let's go Meta X and type in Tetris, and there you go. You can play Tetris on Emacs. So pretty neat stuff. If you want to switch back to a different buffer, and it's actually a fully functional game, so you can move the stuff around. If you want to switch back to your other file, you're going to go Control X and B, and it's going to say switch to buffer, and Emacs tutorial is listed. Say it is down there, and I'm going to just click on enter, and that's going to take me right back to where I was before. If you do something that you decide you don't want to do, like taking the cheese off of that right there, and you want to switch back to, or you want to undo that, you can just go and hold down the control key and either the /, that's going to get it, or you can hold down the control key X and then click on U for undo. I actually prefer Control X U because undo, it's easier to remember. Whatever. Another thing you can do is there's a tutorial system built directly inside of Emacs. To access that, Control H, and then you're going to follow that up with T. And there is your tutorial system. But I'm going to cover everything that's in that plus a whole heck of a lot more. I'm going to go Control X and B to switch back to my Emacs tutorial file that I'm playing around at. Now what I want to do is cover many different ways in which you can move around inside of Emacs. All right, you can see my blinking cursor in the upper left-hand corner. What I want to do, I already covered. Control V is going to move you down pages, and Meta V is going to move you up pages. If you want to go to the previous line, you're going to go Control and P for previous. See, it's bouncing up and down inside of there. If you want to go to the next line, Control N for next. So previous, and there's next. You're going to be able to jump forward by words by going Meta F for forward. So very quickly jump around inside of here. You can jump back a word by Meta once again. And Meta, I mean Alt, back like that. So forward and back. You're going to be able to jump forward sentences by holding down Meta E. So see, jump the whole way through the whole entire thing right that. And you're going to be able to jump backwards in sentences by, and I remember that with the E for sentence, okay? And then the A, you're going to go backward sentences. So you can see how quickly it's going to be to move around inside of your different files. You're going to be able to jump in multiple different paragraphs with what I call a big forward. That's going to be a meta. And then you're going to have your curly bracket pushing towards the right. And then you can do the left curly bracket to jump backwards. And once again, that's the meta key and the backwards. And then you could jump to the very beginning of the buffer or your file by holding down the meta key and then clicking on the less than sign. And you can jump to the end of the buffer by holding down the meta key and hitting the greater than sign. Another thing that's really useful is to be able to jump to specific line numbers. Now to display line numbers, you're going to go Meta X again. And you're going to go LINUM and dash mode. And now you have line numbers. And what's cool about that is you're going to be able to go Meta G followed by another G and then jump to a specific line. So let's say I wanted to go to the 13th line. I just hit 13 and I jump directly there. I use that constantly. You're also going to be able to go forward a character. You're going to be able to use your arrow keys inside of Emacs, but it's actually, once you get used to Emacs, you'll probably use these shortcuts in it anyway. But you want to go forward, you just hit Control F. You want to go back, Control B. If you want to go to the end of a line, Control E. And if you want to go to the beginning of a line, you're going to go Control A. All right, and those are the main ways you're going to move around inside of Emacs. And now I want to show you exactly how we can jump around and edit files inside of Emacs. Now, if you want to quit Emacs, and I don't know why you'd want to do that, you just go Control X followed by Control C, and that is going to give you the option to whether you want to save your file or not. You can type in why, no, da 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 da. What I'm going to do is hit Control and G to cancel quitting Emacs because I never want to do that. And also, you're going to be able to open or create files, of course, by going Control X and Control F for file. Execute file is kind of the way I like to remember that. You're going to be able to save files by going Control X followed by Control S for save, and that wrote that file for me. We can also undo things inside of Emacs, of course. Covered this before, but let's just come in here and type in a word and then say I don't want it. I just go Control X once again. Whoops, cancel that out. Control X and U, or I could go Control X and /, but I don't want to do that. So I'm going to get rid of that. Let's go and switch back to our regular one. Control X. This is going to stay in the buffer that I'm currently in, or close the other one, however you want to refer to it. You can also come in here and I'm going to show you how to do selections, but currently I haven't done that. So if you want to delete a selection that I have like this, you're going to go Control and W, and you can see that went away. I'm going to go Control X and U to bring it back. You can go and delete a whole ton of different things. Let's say I want to delete the word that is in front of my current cursor position. I can do that. I'm going to go Meta key or Escape D. And there you can see KitKat went away. I'm going to go Control XU to bring KitKat back. I'm going to be able to kill every letter to the end of the sentence by going Meta key K and K. See, all went away. Control X, undo, bring it back. I can kill up through a character. Here, I'm gonna go and meta key Z. And let's say I wanted to kill the whole way up to the letter B. I can do so. And there it went away. I could kill the next 2 words. In this situation, I'm gonna go escape 2 and escape D. And that took away 2 of those words. And another thing that's neat is I'm actually going to be able to come in here and copy and paste. And what I can do is I'll actually paste in this situation the very last thing that I went and killed. And to do that, you go Control Y, and you can see Kit Kat pops back up inside of there. And Control Y is referred to as yank. Of course, you're also going to be able to come in here and copy things. So let's say we want to copy melted. We can do so. I'm going to show you here in a second how to create what are called regions for selection, so you don't even have to use your mouse at all, which is really cool. So let's say I want to copy melted. I can just go and meta key and W, which I like to remember with the key phrase take with. So I'm going to go meta key W. So there you go, got that. And now what I can do is come down here and paste it. And remember, that's yank, which is Control Y. And there's melted. And why we refer to it as yanking is we are actually yanking it off of what is called the kill ring, or all of the different pieces of text that you have killed. And you can actually show all of the text in your kill ring by going Control and H, and then you're going to follow that up with V, and then you're going to type in kill-ring. And that's going to show everything that you have inside of it. Once again, Control X and the letter O to switch to it. And then we can increase the size. And you're going to see all of the different things that I have copied and pasted and so forth and so on. Let's close that. Control X and 0. And now I'm left with just this guy right here. You can then go and cycle through the kill ring and copy and paste or yank each of the different things inside of it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to paste the next kill ring item. So I'm going to go Control and Y, and you can see I got melted. And if I want to get the next thing on the kill ring, I go Escape and followed by Y, and you see there it is, Escape Y, and you can see all of the different things that were previously killed, which is really cool. If I want to jump back to the beginning of the line, once again, meta key and A, that's going to jump to the end of the line. And once again, I can go meta key and E. And then if I want to delete the sentence that this is, I'm going to go Control X and backspace and delete the entire sentence. See, as you practice all of these different commands, eventually they just start to stick in your head. And I remember when I first started using Emacs, within the first day, whenever you're first starting off, it seems so complicated. But once you start playing around a little bit, it just starts to stick. Another thing you can do is you can define that you want to repeat something, a command, numerous different times. And how you do that is you go Escape key and the number of times that you want to delete it. So let's say I want to move up 2 lines inside of here. How I do that is I go Escape followed by 2, and then I go Control P. And I just moved up 2 lines. I can move up more lines. So we'll go Escape and 4 and Control P. And you can see that's another way to very quickly move around on your screen. Now I want to get into regions, because this is what's going to allow you to select without using your mouse and things like that. So I'm just going to come in here, and let's say I want to select the breadless burger. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set what's called the mark, and you do that by going Control and space, and then you're going to want to move your cursor to the end of whatever your selection is. So I'm going to come down here to burger. All right, so I got that guy, and then I can go meta key W, and that's going to go and kill that guy right there. And of course I can go Control Y and paste it right back inside of it again. I can also select whole entire areas. And how I do that is I go meta key and H, and I like to remember that by whole, I'm W-H-O-L-E, but I refer to it as whole with the H, and that's how you select that. You could select the whole entire buffer by going Control and X followed by H. Once again, whole. That's going to select your entire buffer. You're also going to be able to define how many words you want to select from wherever you are. And to do that, you're going to go Escape, the number of words that you want to select. Let's say I want to select 4, and then I'm going to go meta key, Shift, at, and then you can see I grab the next 4 words, and I can do a copy and paste or do whatever I want in that situation. Once again, Control W is going to go and delete that. And once again, Control XU is going to undo that deletion, and so forth and so on. So there is a way to work with regions and to be able to copy and paste inside of Emacs. And now I want to cover searching and replacing. Now, if you want to search throughout your file here for a specific word, what you're going to do is go Control and S for search, obviously, and then a word that you want to search for. You can type in cheese, for example, which I know shows up, and it's going to show you all the different locations for cheese across your entire file. You're going to be able to go and hold down Control and S, and it's going to cycle through all of the different cheeses inside of your file until it gets to the very last one on the screen. You're going to be able to also search backwards to do that. That's going to be Control and R, and then what you're looking for. Here I'll look for tortilla. Oops, go and get rid of that. All right, Control G. All right, so I'm going to do it again. Control R, and then the word that I'm looking for, let's go egg. I don't know, that works perfectly fine. And then likewise, I can just keep hitting return over and over again, or Control R to cycle through all of the different eggs in the file. And then I can hit return to cancel that search. You can also do a search for a regular expression. So let's say I wanted to find all of the cheeses as well as regular old cheese inside of here. You're going to be able to come down here and do that. So I'm going to go and actually do it right here. Search for regular expressions. I'm going to hold down the Control as well as the meta key and hit S. And that's our regular expression search is what you see right here. See it right there. And let's say that I want to look for, is it cheese a good one? Yeah. All right. So we'll do CHEESE. And then we will follow that up with an S as well as a star. And you can see that it matched for cheeses as well as cheese. And you can do anything you can do regular expression wise, you're going to be able to do inside of Emacs. And I'll let you go and play around with that idea. Another thing you're going to be able to do is do a find and replace. To do that,